myself again, but it's the only way.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Ray. This Friday night, which means it's 3 Amigos night, and as always, I'm joined by Steve Hasty and Mitch. How are you, lads?
Thanks,
Steve. Good, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Good to see you in a week which has been another bad week for just personal things, really. Mitch, you had some bad news as well, didn't you? You wanted to pay some respect to somebody as well after losing John. Just tell us what news you've got, which is bad news as well.
We had recently Andy Duduka, who was part of the Dallas-Fort Worth Toon army, and talk about big voices in the expat community, which I guess I am now. But he was a big voice in the expat community, somebody you could talk to, who unfortunately decided he couldn't be here anymore. And when you've got somebody like that who is obviously suffering, also love to Big Dave Spurs, Spugsy out here in Dubai, whose other half unfortunately took her own life this week as well. You know, and it's been a really difficult few weeks, I think, for the NUFC Matters community. We've lost John from Jab Signature out of the blue, and Chris the other week, and on top of losing Dave, you know, it's been blow after blow, really. My feeling is, you know, in coming back to Andy Duduka and others, if you are in that dark place and you need help and somebody reaches out to you, please take a hand. Please listen. And if you think one of your mates is struggling, and I know mainly it's blokes at the minute, and we're rubbish at talking about things. We really are. I can tell you that from a healthcare perspective. The amount of blokes I have dragged in to see me professionally by their missus, because they just can't talk about stuff. Sometimes really simple stuff. And if you think someone's struggling, reach out to them. And if you're struggling, someone reach out to you. Take the hand and listen. There's got to be a way forward as a family, as a Newcastle United family. We are a family. We're bigger and we're fighting. We're arguing over sometimes the most ridiculous and spurious things, and spend time concentrating on differences when the similarities are so much bigger. And I'd just say to anybody that's struggling, ask for help. And if somebody offers you help, take a hand, please. It's just been such a difficult week for all in different ways, and the NUFC community, we are so much bigger and we're so much better when we work together. The synergy that we can create is fantastic. And so, you know, everybody needs to look out for each other, please, if you can.
Great words, and I'm sure this sentiments are echoed. I can see already in the chat that they are. And yeah, our thoughts, as I say, are with the families. I've got a message from Charlie Salvador, which I'll play at the end of the show once I've cleared the system a little bit. But he did send a wonderful message for John's family. And, you know, lucky enough to speak to Charlie. I put him on the phone to him in December when he was up for the Christmas get-together at Portofino's. Just pleased that we had that day. And, you know, fantastic, to have those memories. I've spent a lot of time talking about him today, and John will never be forgotten. Okay, let's get on to football. And usually this would come up in maybe tweet of the week. And, you know, I wanted to address this, lads, really. Darren Curry, good friend of mine, somebody who everybody knows in the fan base, goes home and away religiously, organises the boats, made a valid point, I thought. I liked the tweet that he put out. Likely point, meltdowns, fans moaning they can't get into the ground for home games. Maybe that's why some of us stayed part of the problem for 14 years. Mr. Whitfield, another guy who's quite prolific on Twitter, I find this quite an astonishing take. A proper fuck you to those who walked. We don't expect preferential treatment, but it would be nice to be welcomed back into the NUFC matchday family rather than the F you mugs attitude. Steve, I preempted this. I mentioned this was going to happen as the takeover was starting to take shape once the takeover went through. And it's two sides of the fence again, Steve. This is the problem with our fan base. Mitch has done a wonderful, statement there about how much we, are a better fan base when we're unified and working together. I'm not having a go at Peter, and I'm not having a go at Darren there, because they both got valid points. But is the loyalty points system fair in your mind? And if there was a fans liaison group or a fans forum, which we've had in the past, and I'm sure the new owners will address at some point, what, in your wisdom, because you've got a lot of it, and you've given the club and various owners over the years a piece of your mind, some of it taken, some of it ignored, but what would your advice be to the club with loyalty points? Is it fair, and is there a way around this? Is there a way to make this situation better, do you think?
Always good to start on a nice, easy question, Steve. I know Peter, and I know exactly where he's coming from. And we know Darren. I've had him on the show before, and I know exactly where Darren's come from. And it's two sides of the same coin. It all boils down to the polarization that was created by Mike Ashley way back when people felt that they had to stand up and show their feelings towards him, not the football club. His ownership is what Peter was getting at, and that's why Peter was part of the original NUFC group. Great lad. So I understand exactly where he's coming from, and I know how strongly he felt at that particular time and where his conscience was. And I understand Darren's point of view, because this is where we're at now. We're now at the state of a full ground. We're now at the state of the loyalty point situation. The loyalty points primarily come in, obviously, for the away game fixtures. I think it was ridiculous. I think it was the Leeds game. It was starting at 180 points or something ridiculous like that. How it was at that level, I'm not too sure. Whether or not that was the club and the just sort of panic-stricken way that they tend to react when we're playing a big game, or a team like Leeds who's local and they think there's a demand, which obviously there was always going to be. But in terms of how people have clocked up loyalty points over the years, yes, many hundreds and hundreds of fans have done the hard yards, and that's what will get put back into the mix. The hard yards that have been done, the turning up at the 8,000, the 9,000, the trips to away games on Tuesdays at the far end of the country, and I can understand where all that comes from, and quite rightly so, because that was loyalty. As far as the club's concerned, the club brought in this point system, but it's always going to be contentious. The people who have got the points are always going to feel as though if you do something to alter it, it's going to be hard done by. The people who can't get on the ladder will always have to back. We'll do the hard yards and you can get on, but it's a ladder that you can't actually get onto. Then there'll be, Darren and the rest of those lads will say, well, you can, but it means you're not going to start off going to the big games. You're going to go to the lower games. You're going to go to the less interesting games, or at least that's what we did, and that's how we picked the points up. We got points by going to Barnsley and Oldham and places like that, not just going to Manchester United or Leeds or Liverpool or Everton or wherever, So it's a very, very difficult one. I've heard some great points put over. I've seen some very interesting schemes and ideas put together where it should suddenly be 1 loyalty point for a home game and 2 loyalty points or 3 loyalty points for an away game. How that would even out, I've never done the mathematics to work out. But for me, the people who are going to the away games are the same people who are going to the home games and their season ticket holders, etc. So I don't see how that aggregates. I think the only area of contention that seems to get in people's throats are the very fact that, and I saw it on Twitter again, there seem to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of very, very young fans going to games now who obviously haven't picked up the 180 loyalty points, but they're getting the tickets from somewhere. And whether we've now got a situation where fans are literally just clocking up loyalty points on behalf of other people, in other words, allowing their season tickets to be used to buy tickets for games, and then they're being sold on, or they're going to the games in other people's names. I suppose that is the area that the grey area that needs to be looked at, if anything. It has. It honestly, for anyone who's listening, they might think I'm bullshitting, but this has been raised on numerous occasions over the years at fans forums, and I've heard every argument going, every plus and every minus. And I sat in the camp that just said, well, I haven't got the loyalty points, but I know why I haven't got them, because I haven't beat the games. I've also sat there thinking, if it was me, how would I feel if I had all of those points topped up? And as one crazy scheme said, well, after 10 years, we all start again on 0, or 5 years and we all start again. Can you imagine that? The riots that would be on. I mean, I wouldn't like to be the person at the football club who put that sort of plan into place. Dear me. You think Mike Ashley got stick? Can you imagine the person who threw that one into the mix? But no, it's I think it's one of those things that success is going to breed this type of problem. And again, until you end up with games like Brentford, where there's only, 1,300 tickets made available, when you know there's a demand for possibly 3,000-4,000. And it's the same for Leeds, where we saw the congestion that created, and they only allowed 1 turnstile, 2 turnstiles that were made available, and was trying to squeeze, a quart into a pint pot with the state of that ground. Let's face it, a ground that should have been demolished and completely rebuilt many, many years ago, and probably would have happened if they hadn't fell into the financial mess that was created by the likes of Ridsdale and such like over the years. So it's one of those things. Success breeds success. Success breeds demand, and demand will breed. I'm not saying it's a jealousy or anything like that, but it'll breed the us against each other type of chase for tickets again. And I understand exactly where Peter's coming from. He probably feels a little bit hurt by the way that maybe it was put over, or the way that other people have spoken to him about it or mentioned it. But it shouldn't be for us fans to be arguing among ourselves about it. It should be the club looking at potential proposals to put right if there is an injustice or if there is something wrong. Peter might get back in, and he might be back as a season ticket holder when we get an extension to the Gallagher end, for example. Those are the sort of things that will happen. Hopefully, we get a bigger ground, we can then accommodate those who walk away. Let's see, Steve. Let's see, but I don't have an answer for it, and I doubt Mitch has either.
Mitch, is there an answer to this? Because at the end of the day, loyalty points are earned. You go to the games, you get your point. I've always felt that it was slightly unfair. I think it's unfair that people who buy tickets for cup games where we only get 25,000, 30,000, I don't get a loyalty point, because that is loyalty. Going to watch Newcastle play Cambridge at home, you should have got a point for that. You should have. But you know what I mean? There's certain things that could be improved. Did they just scrap it and start again? Because then you're going to end up with, thousands of Newcastle fans who are up a height and aren't happy about it. What do you do, Mitch? Go on, give us your views on this.
There's no easy way to solve this at all. And look, I've told this before, I think, through some strange administrational weirdness. When we got moved around for building works from various places in the ground, me and a couple of other lads ended up with 2 season tickets in our name. We didn't ask for that, but that's what we ended up with. And so we kept them going, and we used to let mates use the other spare, and it was an easy way to let our mates come on occasion and what have you. My loyalty points were all accumulated on 1 season ticket and none on the other season ticket, or very few. And then when we moved into Bar 1892, and there was 12 or 13 of us together, and we got rid of the second ticket, the club actually deleted the loyalty points off the wrong ticket. And I went from something like 120 down to 17. And I went back to the club and said, hey, this isn't right. You've done this wrong. Can you reinstate it? And they said, no, once we've deleted it, it's gone. No help at all, no care at all. And this isn't under Ashley, mind. This is not under Ashley. This is pre-Ashley. And so I had to start again. I had no choice. I had to go to your 0-point games away and build me points up again. And that's what got me to certain big games, because I had to do the hard yards all over again. So I struggle. I can see both sides of it. That I was comfortable with me loyalty points, and then suddenly I wasn't, and I had to scramble it back again. You can build it up again, and it comes quite quickly, provided you're prepared to do some of the really shitty away games at shit times, at shit places, and pick the points up. It can be done. Should that be for everybody? Not really. I have massive sympathy. Look, I know Peter very, very well, and got a lot of time for Peter. He was somebody who did so much work for the NUFC, turning it into NUST, and therefore, Peter's going to be a friend for life as far as I'm concerned. So I can understand his point of view massively. But equally, I understand Darren's. I've known Darren for God knows how long too. And I understand that he's done games that even I never did. He's been to the far end of God knows where on a Wednesday night or a Tuesday night and picked up points for that. And that needs to be, I think, recognised also. I don't think there's a way to reinstate people's points, because certainly under pre-Ashley, they couldn't reinstate mine. So I don't see how they're going to reinstate anybody else's. Once you're deleted from the database, I think you're deleted. Yeah. And that might...
Yeah. My ticket, there was a mix-up over a ticket. It was like, you haven't sent us a renewal form. I thought I'd forwarded the renewal form in. They said they didn't have it. You then go and make your complaint, and you find out that, well, you've missed the deadline, so they've suddenly sold your ticket on.
Sold your ticket.
Yeah. So they moved you 2 rows and 50 seats further along into the east stand, and then a couple of months later, you suddenly look and you see, you go online to get an away ticket and you see you've got 0 points and you had 47, and you go, where have they gone? And then when you argue the point, there's no proof. Well,
there's no way back. There's no way back. And I don't think there's any easy way to sort this conundrum out. It's not that long ago that I was queuing overnight almost to get tickets for certain big games, because that was the only way you could do it. Loyalty points, for better or worse, at least everybody understands it. Everybody understands how it works.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any easier way to work it all out that doesn't become trying to learn 3D chess by knowing half the rules. It's really, really very difficult, and how you can think it through, it's very, very difficult to do that. Steve and I sat with Derek Lambias talking about this, God knows how many years ago, and he had some sort of cockamamie idea which just sounded like complicated mathematics, and you're like, no, if the fans don't understand it, they're gonna kick off about it. But the only simple way to do it seems to be loyalty points, unfortunately. And it creates so much of an argument on social media and beyond. It's the kind of argument that spills beyond social media. It's really very, very, very difficult to work out how, because I think as the success grows, you're going to have a demand for games that is unprecedented. Even in the Keegan years, I think as things grow, we've got a situation where tickets are going to go for a premium. And that said, when I lost my loyalty points and I went to certain places, I never didn't get a ticket on the day from somebody who couldn't show up, or mates who had someone who wasn't there for one reason or another. But that's a big gamble to take if you're going to spend money on trains and planes and automobiles to get to somewhere on the chance that you might just get a ticket on the day. It's really very difficult. And I think also being a gobshite and somebody who was known amongst the fan base made a difference about my ability to pick a ticket up compared to Joe Bloggs. And I was always grateful for that, to be fair. But I also was aware that that was not how it normally is, I'm sure.
I think the all-seater situation hasn't helped because when it suddenly became all-seater, people not only wanted a ticket, but they also want to sit next to each other. So the friends and family situation and links were settled. And then because of that, you can drop yourself into as many categories of friends. And then so you're all allocated there, and there's one address, and that means one person potentially can buy, all 10 tickets for an away game to put in, and if that's the way that they wanted to run, especially if all those people in it had plenty loyalty points. Now it could be that only one of them is going to go at the match, and the other 9 are going to be resold because all it's doing is somebody's taking the responsibility for the other 9 people to keep the loyalty point system going and keep it so you can get to the big game. So there's various little things like that apparently, according to from what we picked up on letters and emails that came in when it was being discussed at the fans forum. But you're right about Derek Lambias. I think Derek's scheme involved a combination of an abacus, calculus, and a slide rule, if I remember right. And even then, they got you nowhere.
Yeah, but
it was probably ridiculous. No, it was probably ridiculous. Derek's sort of idea. You're like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, but you know what? Not everybody has that mathematical ability, Derek. Yeah. And so let's talk about something simple because it needs to be simple.
At least he was listening. It might not have been coming up with the right things, It was a bit Mortman wise, wasn't it? It was a bit the old piano.
Yeah, it was.
I can play all the notes, just not in the right order.
Not in the right order. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, we'll come to the chat. Well, I've got a guest coming on, or 2 guests, I think, in about 5 minutes' time. We've got David Winship coming on to talk about something that needs our support, needs the NUFC Matters community support. We'll be getting him on in about 5 minutes' time. John Askew says, afternoon, lads. Are you confident the new players will hit the ground running and adapt quickly to a fresh style of play? Well, if they all take to the St James's Park turf, Steve, like Kieran Trippier, I don't think we'll have any issues.
No, yes, absolutely, and you know what? From what we're picking up, well, we've seen Byrne before. Looks the part, looks like a good player. Got no worries about there. We know Chris Wood, we know what he's like, but it's Bruno that excites me. And from what we picked up today regarding Bruno on a very, very quick sort of interlude of turning up at training today and just having a run around with the players, the word coming back is that we've got a bowler on my hands, so that's exciting. That's really exciting. When fellow pros talk about a new player coming in and they see him for half an hour, and then their comment is, wow, this is special. And I'll let Mitch elaborate on the phrase that was used about another one of our superstar footballers.
Which one? Oh, no, you can elaborate, mate. That's fine.
The word was, well, somebody else in the team who plays up front, who likes to do step overs and likes to do tricks. He's got a bit of competition on his hands because this lad can play football. So he's going to have to raise his game a little bit and certainly learn how to pass a ball a little bit quicker to his teammates if he thinks he's going to compete against this lad.
Classic.
I mean,
I love it.
We've had somebody turn up to do a half session of light training, and the feedback from people in the club is, oh my God, this lad is just another level. Yeah. And that this afternoon, when we were getting some of that information through, I had the hairs on my arms were standing on end. It was just like, wow. And so I think we can't help but be excited by what's coming in. And to hear certainly fellow professionals not just praising them, just coming out with like, oh my God stuff. It's unreal. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much.
That's the special part of it. When you hear, like you say, when you're hearing it from people in the game, and people in the game of on the first look are going, this lad can play. You just yes, your hairs do stand up on your arms when you hear it, and it makes you. What it does, it makes you excited for Tuesday night. It makes you excited for next day. If he's not going to slot in on Tuesday, he'll certainly be in next Sunday. But it makes you for the future, and I think you will play Tuesday. But
yeah, I think you will as well. I mean, it's weird. I've had a strange week in terms of I've had a couple of messages from people who are out on Dubai on holiday, and they're like, "Where we're going to watch the match on Tuesday night?" So I'm sort of rounding them up. I had somebody turn up at work this week.
That's right.
who come in, and I can't remember the lad's name, and I'm sorry I can't remember your name. I'm shit with names. He came into my work this week. He's on holiday. He broke his holiday to find me to say, me and my sister watch you every Friday night. Thank you for everything you've done over the last couple of years. It's just amazing. I'm stood there gobsmacked in the reception. It's such an amazing thing to do. I've got a feeling he went to Goodfellas, but it was midday. I'm not a monster, man. How are we? But honestly, I suspect they said noise at work. It's just up the road. But honestly, thank you so much for doing that. That I can't even begin to put the words to what that actually means. It's not often I can't find words. It really blows away. We've had like I say, we've had a bit of an odd week with the NUFC Matters community, but some of it has been nice as well.
Yeah, there's always some positive feedback. We'll take a lot of strength out the chat. Okay, we're going to go to one of our regular features before we bring our next two guests in. Get your fingers in your ears if you don't like the music. If not, sit back and embrace it. The day I met where you send in photographs of yourself with Newcastle players or managers or whatever, wherever. Thanks to everybody who sent them in. Jim, thank you for this. A picture of your eldest son with Fabrizio Colaccini. And another one here with John Beresford. So thanks for those, Jim. Thanks for pinging them in. And we've also had this one from Dunnell. John Beresford featuring again this week. Dunnell, of course, who's a regular viewer. This one from a guy who used to be on the fans liaison committee, involved with it anyway, with the the Newcastle United Supporters Association. It was Ian Gilmore, him and Peter Beardsley. Thanks for sending that in, mate. And this one, again, another one of Peter Beardsley from Andy Dobson. It says, the day I met UEFA Cup, CSK Sofia away, 9 o'clock on the day of the game in the hotel. We were on the drink already. He came and sat with us and talked for half an hour. What a man, what a player. So some great memories there, some great photographs. Keep them coming in. Send them to me at Steve Wraith on Twitter, or stick them on our Facebook page, which, of course, is NUFC Matters. Okay, we're going to bring some guests in. So it's good evening to David Winship and Carl Morrison. How are you, lads?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Yeah, good to see you. You reached out to me on Facebook, David. Just tell us a little bit about what it is that's going on and how the NUFC Matters community can help.
Yeah, a bit of background with Steve. We're an organisation called Inspired Support. We work with adults with learning disabilities and fundamentally autism. Set the company up to change the world of how people work. Don't go to traditional day services, for want of a better word, and we kind of set something up that was motivational and all about what young people's interests are. And as part of that, we set up the Inspired Football Academy, which runs out of Gateshead Stadium alongside the pros that are there, Mike Williamson and his guys. And we amalgamated with them to create their disability football team, Gateshead Inspired FC. And as part of that, we've entered into the Costa Blanca Cup, which is a very prestigious tournament in Alicante. Teams like Juventus, Valencia, Villarreal, teams that back in the entertainers' day, we used to love going to watch when Newcastle played them, and we're going as Gateshead's disability team and taking a team of 10 young adults to go and hopefully bring the cup home. So to do that, it's obviously quite an expensive little trip. as you can imagine, and we ain't got the sort of the cash that that big clubs have got. So we're doing it. We're going through a fundraising process, and that was kind of why we reached out to sort of your good selves to see if we could get sort of some ripple effect from your platforms and from people who might be out there listening, to see if we'll get some sponsors or backers or just some good publicity from it.
No, it sounds great, and I mean, well done. And I mean, hopefully you will go on and bring the cup home. I mean, obviously money is important. What is it you're particularly looking for? Is it flights? Is it paying for the logistics? Is it strips? Is it is it anything else?
It's flights, accommodation when we're across there, and just the general running costs when you're there. The strips are being covered by Gateshead. So Gateshead supplying the strips for that. So we're wearing the Gateshead black and white colours. But it's transport costs, and it's costs of sort of entering the competition and the hotel costs when we're across there.
Also, we're looking for like player sponsorships as well. A potential shirt sponsor, individual shirt sponsors on the sleeves of players. So there's a lot that people could get involved in and promote their business at the same time also.
No, that sounds great, Carl. I mean, are you just part of this behind the scenes with David?
So I'm the coach of the team. Dave's the director of the company, but I'm the head of the Inspired Football Academy, which I've been part of for a few years now. Really passionate about coaching the guys and getting them to be the best versions of themselves and giving them a real and proper, as I call it, experience of football. We've got some amazing players, and we just want to go over there and show Europe that.
A bit of context to it as well, Steve, is when the people who we work with, often we get a phone call from a social worker telling us about a young adult who hasn't left the bedroom in years, completely socially isolated, won't communicate, that families are struggling to help them and to support them. And then we start working with these guys, sort of developing their skill sets, often starting from the family home. And where the work we do with people is, and the work Carl and his team do with people is phenomenal, to a point that we'll get them to where we're going to be able to take them abroad and compete in a competition as prestigious as the Costa Blanca Cup. Now, we supported a young guy who was part of the Newcastle United Foundation team about 4 years ago to the same trophy. And we were a sort of wraparound, and we sort of preempted anything that might challenge the young lads, because change for people on the autistic spectrum is such a challenge to them. Anything new. So you'd imagine all the things about going abroad for the very first time, different culture, different food, flying on a plane. There's a sort of lot of work involved in getting to that point. We take people from complete isolation and through football and through the joy of football and life and social skills, and then getting to the point where, right, your next step in learning is we're going to go abroad, we're going to do this, and we're going to compete. I tell you what, you want to see these guys play football. We can't lace their boots up. Get them across that white line. Honestly, they could play in, and Carl will say often there's a couple of our players who you could put them in a training session with the Gateshead pros and they wouldn't look out of place.
That's amazing, that.
Yeah.
But that's when the guys are in the comfort zone, when they cross that white line. So there's a lot of stuff where the guys will be out of the comfort zone, and that's where we come in as part of the process and support them and create visuals to help somebody. So it might be entering the airport for the first time, being on a flight for the first time. What does it look like? It's new to me. It's scary. Once the guys cross the white line, it's just comfort zone, and the guys can just flourish and play. And that makes all the hard work worthwhile. When you see somebody who struggles so much in day-to-day life, and it might be due to the condition of autism, it might be due to OCD, and then you see the guys on the pitch when they're in the comfort zone doing something they love, and it's just amazing. And football's everybody's game, and we just really want to make sure these guys get their opportunities to shine.
And that is the kind of hook. Without us running the football academy, we wouldn't get the buy-in from the people who are supporting generally they'll still be at home, stuck in the bedrooms. But you use that motivator of the joy of football, the passion of football that somebody might have, and they'll engage in what you do, and they don't realise that will work on social skills and life skills and employment pathways, because they're part of it. What is run like a pro club, and when you get the sort of the likes of Mike Williamson coming along and joined in with sessions and kind of asking us what else they can do for us, it's amazing, and you sort of see the outcomes, you see the progression, and you see these guys moving on, and we've got a couple of guys who are about to move into mainstream football, so it's about like stepping stones. We're a stepping stone to them achieving what they want to achieve in life and beyond.
Amazing stuff. We get a lot of support in the chat, as I thought you would. The Facebook group is there. So if you want to go onto Facebook, Road to Costa Blanca Cup is where you can find a bit more details about this, everybody out there. I mean, have you got a total in mind that you'd like to raise?
Yeah, 13,000 is the total that we're looking for. We did an initial crowdfunder in December just to sort of kick things off. We managed to get $1,000 from that. Some of the players are starting to get family sponsors, as in there'll be a company that somebody in the family has or somebody knows who are going to sponsor them. So there's a couple of players who are getting that. We've got other things that are coming up as well. We've got a Just Giving page at the minute, which is justgiving.com/crowdfunding/European Dream. So that's the current one that's running. We're going to be doing bucket collections at 2 or 3 Gateshead FC games. I think it's the Spennymoor game. The team are going to be introduced to the crowd on the side of the pitch. We've got a great tournament coming up in May the 20th. We've got a 24-hour footballathon. So we're looking for 24 teams to enter that. There'll be 12 games, 2 hours a game. So we're looking for sort of companies to put teams forward, or sporting clubs to put teams forward. And we're looking at teams to sort of provide £200 plus whatever extra sponsorship they might be able to get. So that works out, it's just under 20 quid a player. And we're going all the way through, and that's going to be at Gateshead Stadium on the 3G pitches. And the email address, if anyone's interested in getting involved in that or entering a team into that, is 24, the number 24, our football at inspiredsupport.co.uk. So we'll be with that. We've just literally got the go ahead for that for May the 20th. So it'd be good to see a lot of clubs and businesses and whatever else getting involved, having a bit of fun, coming together, meeting new people, and helping raise some money to sort of bring this thing together, because we do want to bring this cup home. And it's, we will get there. The fun, there's a lot of interest in what we're doing. ITV are covering it next Thursday. They're coming out to see us. Radio Newcastle have been on it. Obviously, I reached out to Steve, and you've kindly got us on here. So it's just that initial ripple effect we're making. It's the start of the process, but we should get there. With the backing of the good people in the northeast, we'll hopefully get there sooner rather than later.
Good luck to Robert Melrose, who's on tonight. He's saying that he's going to be part of it. He's going out there. I hope he's doing his training, Carl.
Well, actually, I was going to give him a shout out for you, because I let him know that we were on here today, and he said he met you, Steve, a couple of months ago at a talk-in where Peter Beardsley was. He said he bought your book, and you and Peter both signed it for him. So shout out for Rusty, Robert Melrose.
Big shout out to you, Rusty. Good luck, mate, and bring that cup back home. I see a lot of people already saying that they've donated some money. George Mitchell, of course, Neil's dad, is always one of the first to do that kind of thing. Thank you, George, for doing that. And Alistair Legg has said, I've worked with David. His organisation has changed so many people's lives for the better. Please support their cause. I will donate £50 for the trip. If you don't mind, David, if you can send me the links to the other stuff as well. I've got the Facebook page, which I've pinned at the top of our chat, and that'll stay there the rest of the night. So anybody who wants to find it can do that. But if you can send me the links, I'll pin them up as well on different social media that I've got. Judy Baker's donated as well. Go on, Mitch.
Steve, send all that stuff to me as well, because I know a lot of the guys who do academies and all sorts out here. Let us distribute that in this part of the world and see what comes back. Can't promise anything, but let's put it out there and let's get it to the people out here who sometimes have a little bit of cash to spend. It's absolutely the kind of thing people out here love. People of determination need support as much as anybody else. And this is the kind of thing I'm quite sure we can find some support for you.
Yeah. It's something which, as I say, it'll do the kids a world of good, but it's also something that will give the region a lot of pride as well. So it's great, just great to see that. Great to see you guys are putting any efforts in. Anything else you want to say tonight?
I think we've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just thanks to everyone who's already backed us. And anyone who's intending on backing us, we're speaking to philanthropists, and I said that, I got it. We're just looking for them sort of key people who will back this. Disability football is something that has been put on the back burner for years and years, but it's starting to come now. Clubs are realising, just like they did with female football, that this is an important thing. It's massively important to get this on the front foot, and I think this trip to Europe, this trip to the Costa Blanca Cup, which, believe us, it is out of this world. It's like being at the Olympic Games. They do this opening ceremony, which is just it's crazy. And this will give sort of other people with disabilities or autism, this will be a bit of a beacon for them, so that they'll be able to see, I can do that, and it'll be a great motivator for other people who are on the spectrum or who've got learning disabilities to be able to know they can achieve something as well.
That's brilliant, Dave.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic, lads. Really, honestly, we love and support anything we can do to help the wider football community, particularly our wider football community, to do special things around the world. We love it to bits, man. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. It's brilliant.
Some of our players to come on with the trophy after they've won it and have a crappy years.
That'd be mint. That'd be mint.
Yeah, and to everybody out there, I would say, we talk about the Northeast being the hotbed of football, or it used to be called that. But what you guys are doing is to try and turn it into the bedrock of football, because it starts at the bottom. It starts with people who want to play football, lads who want the opportunity to play, and you're giving them the opportunity to get out the house, get through some of the problems they've got, some of the social issues and some of the mental issues that might have occurred in the past, and you're opening them up into that football world. I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic, and if everybody can, or anyone out there that can help, I would say, please, get in touch with the lads, do what you can. Even a little bit, every little bit will help to get them to reach their target of where they want to be, to get the team over into Costa Blanca and get to play football and represent us, because that's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be representing us guys when they're out there, and that'll make us all proud. Absolutely, well done.
Yeah. Well, I've pinned the crowdfunder page now to the top of the YouTube. Hence the reason I disappeared and went off, and then I had all kinds of problems with my sound. David, Carl, thanks for coming on. Anything else I can do, give us a shout. Good luck. And if you need to come back on and plug it to get a bit more support, then feel free. But I'm sure that your appearance on here tonight will certainly bring in a few quid to the coppers. Best of luck, lads.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks, lads.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Great to have the guys on. Absolutely fantastic. And good luck to them. And thank you, as always, NUFC Matters community for chipping in and doing your bit. Always warms the cockles when you see that kind of reaction from the NUFC Matters cult. Okay, as always, we have lots of other things to get through. So why don't we have a few tweets of the week? Tweet of the week, where we surf the net to find some interesting content for your perusal on a Friday night. And as always, there was an epitome of stuff, not always concerning Newcastle United as well. So first of all, this again probably could have gone in a lookalike section, but it wasn't quite lucky. Like Burning Wood waiting for a cross to be whipped in, said Rob. Just showing the fact that they were now going all out to get the big boys in the box and on the Anderson crosses by some of our new players, which I thought was quite funny. This
Burn
one was
looks
good.
about 7'6", man. Jesus.
He does. We'll come to that.
So
tweets. Newcastle United Times put this up as Bruno came through the door. Awkward. Welcome to Arsenal, Bruno. Welcome to Arsenal. Yeah, I jumped the gun slightly on one of those fan sites. This one made me giggle. If you see me walking down the street and I start to cry, each time we meet, walking pie. We needed a giggle this week, and that certainly gave us it. This one, just purely because of Mia Dad's generosity, I'd be happy to sign it as well. Hopefully that won't put you off buying it. Of course, he is referring to the T-shirt, which is on my timeline at the moment, at Steve Wraith on Twitter. Get yourself on there, make a bid, and let's get as much money in as we can for this T-shirt for the food bank. But thank you to Mia Dad for reaching out like that. It's nice to know, we've got owners who do actually care about the fans and about the football club and about the community. Very kind gesture. And I know John from QTech is going up to Mia Dad at some point to get that T-shirt signed this week. So make sure you get a bid in. Do not miss out. I did like this one as well. Honoured that Bruno would add his tattoo collection so quickly after signing. Thank you, Bruno. And if you just look on his arm there, he's put 2 pools on, which is fantastic. So Bruno getting right in there by supporting one of our interesting accounts. This one was from Ian Sanderson. He says, Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce had me at a point where I was literally done with Newcastle. I was turning the game off after 20 minutes or not even watching it at all. Now I'm refreshing Twitter every 2 minutes and can't get enough. This club is alive again. And I think that sentiment is something that we can all agree with, Ian. It is a feel-good factor that surrounds St. James's Park these days. Mick Quinn was in on it on transfer deadline day as well. He said, breaking news, current queue of players waiting for a medical at Newcastle United, which was good. I mean, that start to transfer deadline days certainly had us all excited.
The other weekend in Goodfellas, when I was watching the Leeds game with the Leeds lads, Calvin Phillips and Liam Cooper turned up. They'd been in Dubai, and somebody from the Dubai Whites had messaged them and said, come and join me. And they did. And I had 5 minutes with Calvin Phillips. When are you signing for? He said, well, everybody is on there.
Yeah, classic, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Absolute classic. It's just a complete polar opposite to where we were. This one was quite good as well, Steve, from United.
Yes, hold your hands up. Who's heard of Bruno a week ago? Frank. Aye, Frank. That's about it. And I think, you know what? He's dead right as well, you know. A lot of people. All of a sudden,
he like,
wasn't he, you know?
I'm one of those people, if you do meet us and people ask about foreign football, I'm genuine. I just say, well, I didn't watch it, you know what I mean? I've got no idea who it is. The guy in the gym this morning who often comes up to us with transfer tidbits and whatever after he's read Newcastle News or News Online or whatever it is. And he's going, Glitchmark or something, and we've been linked with. And I'm going, well, who's he? And he's going, well, he plays in the German league for Borussia Dortmund. And I'm going, never heard of him. Got no idea who he is. And it's probably because we've been so alienated from European football under Ashley. I've got no idea. Back in the old days, I knew who played for Barcelona. I knew who played for Kiev. I knew who played, you knew the gist of the players. I've had no reason to know who these players are. And I certainly haven't got time to sit and watch European football. Gemma Summers put this up. Who's going to tell him? And it was just this comment by a wonderful Queen's Park Rangers fan who just put hashtag Hendricks here. Celebrating the fact that Hendricks is there. I wonder if he'll still be doing that at the end of the season. Holly as well got in on it on the old fumometer. I just loved that. The fumometer, because the Mackems were fuming as the transfers were coming in through the door at St James's Park. Tyson Fury, on a boxing terminology, went, "It's this lot versus me." Such a funny time for me. They lost it at the last minute. I just love the way that he compared all of his opposition to the people in the cast of the Wizard of Oz. So there's Eddie Hearn in there. There's Usyk. There's Anthony Joshua as the Tin Man, and Dillian White as the Cowardly Lion, which I thought was great. I'm really looking forward to that fight.
He's box office man, that lad. He really is.
Yeah, yes. Toon Army put this one up as well, Steve, which was great, wasn't it? Great to see what Botman had to say.
Exactly. This is from Toon Army. This will be my last months at Lille. I can confirm both Newcastle and AC Milan were concrete options this winter. Both were good options for me. I will take a good step in my career next summer. And that was from Sven Botman. And that's refreshing to hear a player. I mean, obviously he's only got a few months to go, but that's refreshing to see a player put up a tweet like that. Very, very refreshing, very interesting.
Yeah, it was definitely. Just got a message through from John Allen. This never surprises me. George Hayes has put £450 in for the Meerdad t-shirt already.
Oh,
well done, mate. Absolutely.
Well, George, thank you, man.
As always, thanks, mate. He is a legend.
Unbelievable.
Legend.
Unbelievable.
Holly Blades put this one up. Goodbye, Ashley. Hello, PIF. Just a major thing at the bottom there, which just shows how much we're spending the transfer window compared to other windows. And this one was from Ian. And I've got to be honest, mate, you beat me to this because this was something I was going to tweet. You put the last time I was this happy about Newcastle signing so many players was when we signed these four. Different outcome at the end of the season, I hope. And of course, I have alluded to it on the Geordies Here, Geordies There program.
Oh, mate.
I did. So, let's hope that isn't true.
I was at Everton the first year of that season, and I was deflated more than a Zeppelin with a fucking fag end. It was ridiculous. It was just unbelievable.
But the excitement beforehand, though, and he's dead right.
He's absolutely right.
When they talk about the ometer, dear me, it was up on absolute full, wasn't it? You know,
it was. This one was from Ian. So you can see the idea here. Icking your and then S at the bottom, and he says, "I'm gonna try this." Yeah, and what was it? Picking your teams.
Picking your teams, aye.
Yeah, that was good. David Osland getting on the political side of things. The Northern England should rename itself Serco. Then the Tories would just give it 37 billion, which I thought was quite good. Been quite a week in politics. And if you want to hear a little bit about politics and hear me talking politics, you should tune into last night's show that we did. Over 1,000 views in 12 hours last night of the new show that I'm doing with Patricia Devlin and Lee Davies. It's a current affairs show, which we're going to do every Thursday. And we covered everything from Boris, Partygate, the Met Police. We had somebody on, sadly, who had all the vaccinations, etc., on in his arm, but then has now been diagnosed with POTS and hasn't been out of bed for 3 months. So he joined us as a guest. But we covered everything, covered immigration, you name it, Brexit. It all came up, and that was all in an hour. But we're going to do that once a week. So if you ever want to get anything off your chest, Steve and Mitch, which isn't football related, always feel free to jump on there if you've got any points that you want.
I'll come on because I'll get off my chest the fact that I heard the other day that, believe it or not, Newcastle is going to lose one of its MPs. Apparently, we're going to lose. We've got, I think, the 3 MPs in Newcastle East, Newcastle Central, and Newcastle North. And I think the government, under their new plans, are going to do away with Newcastle Central.
Wow.
And if they do that, according to the Boundary Commission, Newcastle United's football ground will no longer be in the centre of Newcastle.
Well, we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this, Steve. Let's come back to this. Let's get through these tweets and we'll come back to this. This is interesting. Okay, so we've done that one. This one was Dublin Magpie. Today is exactly 2 years since this poor bloke had to drive the first UK COVID cases to quarantine, and they gave him no PPE. And you can see the bloke behind him fully dressed. I like this one, Peter. Straight to the point. That's a proper tweet, isn't it?
That's a proper fan. That's just saying it as it is because it's true.
Yeah. This one as well. Cola said, late drama in this transfer window is Kieran Trippier, Chris Wood, Dan Burn and Bruno Guimaraes have all decided to sign for Brentford after being offered a drop in wages. Yes. I see what you did there. Thanks for the tip off there, Gary. Coming down to the winners now. David Murphy posted this one. Awesome. This is our time. I love that. Manchester City and the teams above, and there's Newcastle United coming up like a mega don or whatever it's called, which was
There's
great.
always a bigger fish.
Number 2 in the charts was this one from Peter Clennell. Fair play to Dan Dunn, straight into the training ground and made use of the facilities at Newcastle United. He is a big lad, as Jack Charlton would
Big
say.
lad.
And the winning tweet this week is this one, Steve, from Zara.
Yes, this is from Keith Downey. When are you going to accept that being in League One for 4 successive years isn't newsworthy on a national level? Was the same with Blackburn and Leeds. Get back up the divisions and get back to the party where you belong. In the meantime, stop taking your frustrations out on me. And that was all to do with the Mackems competition that we were looking.
Do you know the best thing about that tweet for me is if you look at how many Leeds fans liked it.
Yeah.
Because they understand, they know.
Yeah.
And the amount of them that will go, yep. Brilliant. Love it.
Fantastic. That's your tweets of the Jeff's asking, any interest in archaeology? Jeff, come on the show next week. It'd be great to get you on. Rather than talking football, honestly, it's a blessed relief to suddenly talk about other stuff. And you actually see a different side of me. I go off on a tangent. I don't often get a chance to say much on a lot of these shows, but I certainly went off on a tangent last night. It's good. It's definitely blew the cobwebs out. Put it that way. Steve, just continue on what you were saying in that tweet of the week there about the about this ground, because the boundary changing makes it what was the point you were trying to make?
The point I'm trying to make is, first of all, the government put a thing out, and the Boundary Commission are looking at doing away with the number of MPs. So we're going to have 50 MPs less in this country. Newcastle, according to the government, they want to do away with one of our representatives. They want to have us only represented by 2 MPs. The city's growing. The city's a metropolitan city. The city's been taken over almost in terms of where the city's heading football wise, which is hopefully going to bring commercial interest, which generate all sorts into the city. The population's growing all the time, and yet they're going to do away with one of our MPs, one of our representatives. So that means the city will no longer be covered by 3 MPs, but by 2 MPs. So we'll have Newcastle East and Newcastle West. So that means that where the Boundary Commission wants to draw the line, Newcastle United moves from being representatives part of the centre of Newcastle to being in the east of Newcastle, because whoever the MP is for the Newcastle East will be the MP for the area involving the city centre and where the football ground is, and that footprint. The rest of
How does that work out? How does that work out? It's closer to Fenham than it is to Wallsend.
Exactly. But this is the Boundary Commission. This is the government. This is the way that they draw the line. It's weird. It's weird.
Absolutely bizarre.
Wow. Okay.
We are a growing city. We know we're a growing city. What gets me is that there are other cities in the country that are smaller than us that still have 3 MPs. So they'll be represented by 3 MPs rather than 2. That'll give them more clout politically. It gives them a bigger voice. It reduces the voice in the northeast for whatever reason.
Massively.
Is it because the 3 MPs currently incumbent MPs are Labour MPs and not Tory MPs, and it's being done by a Tory government? Is it fair? Is it the right way to represent it?
Wow.
Is it because we've had an MP that looked after the football club that has been rather vociferous in her campaigning about the takeover? Who knows what the reasoning and rationale is? We're going to throw all sorts of crazy sort of conspiracy theories to go on, but the fact is that if anyone wants to check, they can go on the Boundary Commission's website and they can see what the proposals are for Newcastle, and they'll see that in the future, by the next election, we'll only have 2 MPs in the city instead of 1. And where the boundary's drawn, Newcastle United, the football ground and the city centre will be part of Newcastle East.
Well, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Interesting to hear, though, and thanks for that update, Steve. Okay, I've been quite neglecting of the chat tonight because obviously we've had we've had a couple of guests on and so much to discuss. Tom, no, the worldwide show won't be happening anymore, mate. We've moved on from that now to Geordie's here, Geordie's there on a Wednesday night. It does get better viewing figures as well. So, not everything stays the same, Tom. You've got to refresh as well, and hence the reason we brought the current affairs like show in as well. That, it's different people, different views, and look, Tom, not everything stays the same. It was great doing the worldwide show, predominantly really for COVID as well, Tom. We had a lot of people on there who had a lot of spare time because they were sitting at home or working from home, and as I say, things change, and I guess a lot of that's transferred over to Loaded. Some of the guys are on there now who don't come on this channel anymore. We still have Chris and Pete, of course, who were part of this, but Loaded do their own thing. So yeah, we just keep changing, mate. If you're going to do 7 shows a week, you've got to keep it fresh and you've got to keep it changing. And we'll keep 1 or 2 of the shows the same, but there'll always be a change. It's a bit like Malcolm and Gibbo. Couple of weeks now where they've gone off on a tangent. And last night, if you haven't watched it already, they were talking about Puskas and Len Shackleton and Jackie Milburn's testimonial, and Malcolm meeting. I'd found a photo of Malcolm on holiday in Athens after his first season at St James's, and he went off into a tangent about Athens and playing out there, and it was just amazing. And I've had so many messages today from people saying it would be great if you could just do like a trip down memory lane with them, which again I might do. I mean, I think everybody enjoys hearing their take on the modern stuff because they're so knowledgeable. But ultimately, for me, I think we might do so. I might record some stuff because I've got a film role coming up. I'm going to be off for a week, so I might record some of those with the guys.
Steve, I think changing the Wednesday show from the retro show to Geordie's here, Geordie's there, and letting everybody expand on what they know. Get me dad talking about current affairs rather than things in 1950s and things like that, and everybody's enjoying it, and they really are enjoying it. And I think we enjoy it in terms of it's a bit more free form. We can talk about what we want to talk about.
100%, yeah, it's great, and I'm just delighted that we've managed to get your dad on and keep him on because he's a mine of knowledge, and it's just fantastic to get you two guys together. He's
the original Google,
Yes, that's his nickname, isn't it? In the chat, Google, black and white Google. Graham Townsley, I'm sorry we can't lose any MPs until we've cleared with the 19 clubs. Has Boris spoken to the Premier League to get the vote?
Brilliant. Nice one. Love it.
Yes, Ryan says, Steve, can I put 40 quid on the stream and you can put it on the charity? I just can't seem to do it. I'm useless. Ryan, you're better off going to there because YouTube takes 30% of anything put into the chat. It's all right if you're making a donation, and any donations that go on the channel, I've got to be perfectly honest, I'll just put it back into the lads. At the end of the season when we have a Christmas do or whatever, I get the drinks in, and we had a great turnout at the Christmas do, and that just goes into the pot for everybody who's part of NUFC Matters. And 40 quid in there, you're taking 30% off, mate. It's I'd rather the 40 quid went straight to them. So if you just work it out, go click on the link that's at the top of the chat. Go into the Just Given page and you can donate direct to them. It's dead easy. You can use PayPal, use your bank, whatever. It takes you through it step by step. It really is dead easy. So get it right to them. Yeah,
100%. Get it right to them.
Give that a go, mate. And I know you like to donate to us, Ryan. It's always greatly received, mate, as well. Thank you for pitching in. None of that goes unnoticed. I always try to say thank you to anybody who uses the super chat to put in. And as I say, we let this content go for free. We don't charge anybody anything for anything on here. So it's more about the crack and trying to raise money for the food bank, if nothing else. And always thank you and the likes of George for all the generosity. Nick Brown is MP for Newcastle East. Absolutely useless. That's allegedly, and that's your opinion, Travel Genie, not the opinion of NUFC Matters. Spends most of his time in London engaging in various dodgy social activities. Again, that's your opinion, not NUFC Matters. Rather than representing the city. Travel Genie. I presume you're not a fan of Nick Brown. Be good to get Nick Brown on to have his opinion. Maybe I should get him on our politics show. It would be interesting to get him on. But yeah, I've met Nick Brown before, and he's always been all right with me. But let's see what happens. He might get in touch. and want to meet you, Travel Genie. It's always good to meet voters. What's the lads' memories of Terry Hibbert? And the chant was legendary. Well, I don't have any, sadly, because from my perspective, I was too young. But Steve, I can talk about Gateshead. He was fantastic at Gateshead. I saw him win the Northern Premier League with Gateshead. Now, I was there in the 82-83 season, and it was Bob Toppin who he was playing up front with, and I was blessed to watch him play. But Steve, did you see him play at Newcastle?
Yes, I saw him. Yeah, because I was going to games when Terry was at Newcastle United. I was there all the way through the '74 Cup run. We were there in the seasons before when he played with Malcolm. And I always think he was one of those players that looked old when he was so young, and a lot of those players in that era did. They all looked like old men. And I know he died. He was only about 46, 47-year-old, I think, when he died. And he didn't look any older then than he did when he was playing. You know what I mean? It was just, but he had a lovely left foot. He could stick his foot in. He wasn't one of those sort of like tippy tappy sort of left wingers or anything like that. He could stick his foot in, and I think if you ever talk to Malcolm about him, I mean, Malcolm holds him in the highest esteem. But Malcolm always says he could start an argument in an empty room, and that was the phrase that's always used about him. And can you imagine what it must have been like in a dressing room with somebody like that? The first thing they do when they get into the changing rooms at half time is like light up a fag and then start to argue with everybody and stuff like that. It must have been amazing. But he was a great player. But we had some really good players back in the day. Getting the cup final in '74. People go on about it. I mean, that you just have to look at that pass that he put in the semi-final against Burnley to realise what a sweet left foot he had. Absolutely on a sixpence, majestic player, lovely player, really, really good, and apparently a really good laugh to have around as well. I think he ended up as a milkman or something. I remember seeing him in Sandyford when I lived there, and I'm sure he ran a milk round or something like that before he passed away. But I suppose now, I don't think you get many footballers that would retire and then start a milk round, would you?
No, definitely not. Any news on when Wilson is back? Listening to his podcast today, and he said he's not going to be rushed back, going to give it plenty of time. Tom, I mean, like we discussed this earlier in the week, but it was talked about the start of March, mate. So let's hope that is the case. But the last thing you want to do is rush the guy back and then injure him, and then he's out for the rest of the season. So, Ian, I guess my Terry Hibbert memory has to be the ball to Supermac in the semi-final. Fantastic. Terry and Kenny Hibbert, both great players. I think he was at Wolves, wasn't he? Kenny Hibbert. Mitch, what about you? Any Terry Hibbert stories, or are you too young like me?
I know I've seen him play, but most of my Terry Hibbert is from my dad and my granddad. Yeah. And understanding what the connection he had with Supermac. And I think that's the big thing. You watch that ball that he played in the Burnley Cup game, that's two players who know what the other one is doing. That's two players who have a synergy and a connection, who suddenly become more than the total of the pair of them together.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to try and create in any team, is this synergy. You want to have a winger and a striker. You want to have a full-back and a centre-back. You want to have a goalkeeper and a centre-back. You want to have a centre midfielder in a withdrawn striker who can just make things happen on the pitch because they don't have to think about it. And that seems to be the relationship between Terry Hibbert and Supermac, is that they didn't have to think about it. The balls were just played because that was the ball to play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no real personal memories per se.
Yeah.
But learned memories from my dad and my granddad, and what my dad calls the Chicken Road Academy. My uncle Tom, or my great uncle Tom, and all the rest of the family who were black and white daft.
Yeah.
And that was how I was brought up, with people who were the first people who put coaches on to go to away games and things like that, you know, and that's where my heritage comes from.
Yeah, you did get partnerships in those days. You're dead right. You know, you look at Keegan Toshak. That was a partnership that people still rap now. You know, absolutely. You know, then you had like sort of Souness and Dalglish. You know, you knew where the other one was going to be. But having said that, I think everybody would have known where Kenny Dalglish was going to be on the pitch. You know, because you just had to put the ball into that 6-yard box. And the other one, international level, that never really got the recognition was Beardsley alongside what they call him,
Lineker,
Gary Lineker.
Yeah,
you know, in that '86 World Cup,
that '86 World Cup, those two were key.
That's right, and I think it was the Beardsley that made Lineker as much as anything. It certainly that was just a different type of partnership, but like a partnership that worked really, really well. You're absolutely spot on, and when you're in a team, when you get a partnership like that, it must be so much easier for the other 9 players in the team.
No,
you know, it's
look,
just they'll do it for
when you get one of these situations where 2 players are synergistic and they bounce off each other, they know what the other one's going to do. Beardsley and Cole, when we did when they were on song, there was absolutely no way anybody could take that apart, because they each knew what the other one was going to do, and some of those balls killed people. Now, with VAR, with a pointing arm, that might not have, but that's another matter. You know, but we've seen it. We've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, but I think the difference in that partnership was there was one player making another, because Beardsley made Cole. He made him. Cole wouldn't have not been the same player without Beardsley.
Oh,
Beardsley
God, no.
The ready-made player. And he took it upon, when he came back to Newcastle like that, he took it upon himself to be able to bring other players. And he made, there's no question, he made Andy Cole. Those 40-odd goals that he scored that season, you know, he wouldn't have got anywhere near that without having Peter Beardsley. And that's no disrespect to Andy Cole either, by the way, because he could put the ball back there. But I think he would have probably been a 20-goal-a-season man that year, not a 40-goal-a-season man that year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And if you want to watch Peter Beardsley in action on the microphone, that is going to be tomorrow's program. I'm actually going to have a day off. Mick Lowes has sadly got COVID, so he's out of action.
No.
Sadly out of action tomorrow morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a morning off myself, which is quite rare, as you know. And instead, you'll be able to watch An Evening with Peter Beardsley, which was filmed earlier this year. At the Irish Centre with me interviewing Peter Beardsley, and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. It's a good hour long. We'll talk about Peter's career. So tune in tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, to watch an audience with Peter Beardsley and me. I think you'll completely enjoy that. And if you're at it, still watch it, because you always miss something. You always miss something when you're there. Do you think the season ticket prices will be frozen or increased with a new project in mind? That's a good question, Steve. It's one we can't answer, but we can speculate, Steve.
Yeah, well, we can hope that they get kept at the same as they are. That's the one thing we can say, especially in the current financial climate. There'll be a lot of people going, God, my gas has gone up, my electric's gone up, council tax will be going up. Not the season ticket. No, dear me, that's the last thing I need off the wife, you know. So I mean, you know, but we just don't know. I mean, you know, what the club's plans are. I haven't a clue. I'm just hoping they don't. I'm hoping for the sake of everybody that the ticket prices don't go up. It's not as though we desperately need that extra £4 million or whatever it would bring in if we stuck the prices up by 10%. You know, it's not exactly going to break the bank of Saudi Arabia, is it? You know, if that's what they were looking for. So I'm hoping that we can have sensible ticket pricing at St James's Park. And I'm hoping that we're also one of those clubs who's going to really, really push for, you know, £20 for away tickets, like it should have been, like we wanted. I think the compromise being the £30 that the you know, 20's plenty was the campaign that was being run, and everybody suddenly decided, oh well, 30's enough, and let's do it that way. I'm hoping that we're one of those clubs that'll really knuckle down and try and bring the away ticket prices to a level, you know. So then those people with the tickets and with the points are not having to pay so much, because you're paying an absolute fortune, aren't you, Steve, if you want to go on the train to away games.
Yeah, no, you do. I mean, yeah, Mitch, you would think that there'll be a little bit of common sense here, because cost of living is going through the roof in the UK. It's only going to get worse before it gets better. Inflation going up, gas bills and electricity bills going up. You know, it's not a positive place to be, England, at the moment, and you're in the right place at this moment in time. But if season tickets went up as well, I'm afraid that people are going to have to, you know, start thinking, well, actually, you know, I'm going to have to make a decision here, and be, you know, a lot of people who won't be able to afford things like going to the match or going to the theatre or going to the cinema or going out for a meal.
Just think it through. Okay. In terms of season ticket cost, and in terms of what the fans put into a club at the moment, fans input in terms of revenue year on year has become less and less significant. There is nothing much to gain from the club by putting season ticket prices up significantly. There's just not, because the fan input into the game at the moment is less and less significant. And that's not just for Newcastle United, that's for every club, not just in the top flight, it's for every club. That the fan input is less significant, it's less important. That's why we have, as fans, become, in some ways and in some places, less important. Because that percentage of revenue from the fans paying season tickets and what have you and everything else has become less of a percentage of what actually generates the real thing in the game. There is no advantage to Newcastle United putting season ticket prices up. All I can see is actually negativity. They'll piss people off. And so I think, again, they have to take a step back and think it through and say, right, what is the maximum we feel people will pay here? And what is, in terms of renewals, we've got X amount of people who are going to make renewals at X price. In terms of our income from this, what does this do? And how does this affect what we're going to do going forward? Bearing in mind, going forward, it looks like our sponsorship revenue is going to change exponentially, potentially. So the fan dollar becomes less important. So why piss the fans off? It's not that important anymore. And that's, in some ways, a bitter pill to swallow. You know, because when clubs get into trouble, Portsmouth, Leeds, and many others, the fan dollar suddenly becomes so much more important. We don't have to think about that anymore. But we should think about that some more. And we should think about the people who are paying season tickets and putting money in and saying, we can reward you by not making it so expensive, because it doesn't matter that much. If we're going to get the sponsorship from Saudi for our training ground, for our training strip, for our sleeve, shirt, shoulder sponsorship, for our main sponsorship in the front of our shirt next season, and all these sponsorship deals that people are wanting to know about what's going to happen next. I'm still convinced the shirt sponsorship long term is going to be Experience Outdoor. And the reason I'm confident about that is I know somebody who's seen paperwork for it. And that's Saudi tourism. We've got Saudi building tourism areas to go to Saudi Arabia. And I think they're not going to be the same as what people think Saudi Arabia is right now. There's going to be a lot of changes. And I've said before, people are expecting from Saudi generational changes, and that's not going to happen. But they're going to see a lot of change, and it's going to push the generational change. It's going to push it to the point of breaking point for some people. The way they are handling things in terms of the schism within Islam, different people who have different points of view about how it should be applied, is tough, really tough. And we will be part of I'm sure, the tourism exposition, how we go and how people want to come to Saudi. And I'm comfortable with that, very comfortable with that, because it'll be done in a way that is exceptionally respectful and works on a way that people in Saudi can connect to. So, you know, going forward, I think as a club, when we're getting an influx of money from various different sources that will really boost us from an FFP point of view, we've got to understand that, you know.
Okay, plenty of comments coming in. Steve's hoping that he can get a discount on a holiday to Saudi Arabia with season tickets.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Do you know what?
It's interesting you should say that.
Genuinely think Newcastle United is a vessel that could do something like that, and they will be happy to do that in terms of a two-way street exchange of many different things.
Yeah. Pep Guardiola was on his interviews this morning, and he's sitting there, and it's the first time I've noticed him on his sweatshirt, because he has all sorts of political statements on his sweatshirt that he never gets picked up on. But today it was Expo 2020 UAE was emblazoned on. When that sponsorship suddenly came in, I wonder whether that got sanctioned by the other 19 in the Premier League, you know. But it just goes to show that you know, is that product placement? I don't know, but we'll not go down that rabbit hole.
No, definitely
No,
not.
look, I could drag you down it, but no, I won't.
Graham says he remembers when he was a kid going to the match in the 80s. It was a quid to get into the Gallagher then, and it went up to 150. That's when I started going. There was hell on, but we still went. Stu Penman says they're a business, not a charity. A bigger stadium will give the masses the opportunity to go to the game and keep the ticket prices down. I think that the home games aren't as much of an issue for me at the moment amongst the fan base as the away games are, and the ever rising loyalty points. That seems to be an issue that's going to run and run, but we'll see what happens with that. Do you think Newcastle Airport will do flights to Saudi in the future? I'm sure they will, Tom.
Yes. Look, I know they will.
Yeah, and Mad Mark says, see, Man United are about to announce a new training kit sponsorship deal with Tezo worth 20 million per season. I bet the Premier League didn't scrutinise that deal very closely. I bet they didn't. And rather unsavoury news coming out of there today about Lingard. I mean, it's what we all expected. Like, the poor lad's stuck there now and probably won't go to the World Cup because he can't get a game in the team. Absolutely crazy. Okay, the clock is ticking. I just want to point out as well, tomorrow I've got a true crime interview with Shane Taylor. This really is quite an emotional interview. The guy's from Hartlepool. He's got a book out. That is it. It's on. It's available on Amazon. Shane breaks down on this interview. If there's anybody who's ever shown remorse, it's him. You know, quite quite a life story. Well worth tuning in. I'm not going to say any more. Have a look at his book on Amazon. And yeah, that is tomorrow night at 6 till 7. One of those true crime interviews. You either love them or you hate them. If you don't like them, don't tune in. It's as simple as that. But they are very popular on this channel. Very popular as a podcast, believe it or not. A lot of people listen to them. But quite a lot of different content.
About them. There's a story behind every one of those crime stories that you do. Every crime podcast. There's amazing backstory. There's amazing forward stories. And when you listen to the lads talking, when you listen to your guests, some of it you're just stuck for the hour because it really is fascinating listening.
They are, and I mean, I try to keep them within an hour. I've just done one. I mean, to be honest, John from Jab, as everybody knows, used to design the flyers, and you know, he would do them on his phone. But we had a laugh. I mean, ultimately with John, he got the job by default because he just sent a flyer to me with all of our heads superimposed on a movie poster, and I went, John, that's bloody awful. And I went, but you know what? I says, it's that awful. It's good. And I remember sending it to you two guys. And you just were in hysterics. And I just said, oh, look, John, you've got the job. So, I mean, that was it. It was as simple as that. All I do was promote John's logo.
Is the one he's done today the last one he did for me, mate?
No, it's not. Because when we got together at Christmas at Portofino's for some food, I said to him, I've got a few ideas for some posters. And he says, well, send us them over Christmas. So I'm glad to say we've at least got another 4 weeks of John's Friday night specials. The last one he ever did for us was this one, because I've just interviewed this guy, Rich Jones. Now, most of my true crime interviews have been about people who've gone from being a criminal to turning their life around. Well, this is somebody who's gone through the process, gone the other way. He's turned his life around again, but what a journey this is. Rich Jones has got a book out as well called Charlie 4 Kilo. And this guy went from the military to being a cocaine kingpin in Bristol. And this really is a hell of a story. This should be a film.
Wow.
That'll be coming out in a few weeks' time. Again, it's just an hour long, but Rich is a fascinating character. Tells a hell of a story.
You say, Steve?
He basically went from being in the army to being a cocaine kingpin. He ran the drug importation and supply in Bristol. And he's now, he obviously, you know, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but he's turned his life around again. But what a story. But yeah, the true crime stuff, I know it doesn't float everyone's boat, but some of the stuff that I've got has been fantastic over the last few weeks, and I've done a few. Yeah, it's excellent. Okay, time is ticking. 1 hour 25 into the show. I think it's time we started looking ahead to the Everton game, which of course takes place on Tuesday. It seems months since we've played. It's bizarre, but it's not. It's not months since we've played. So let's get tuned. If I can find his video, which I know I definitely loaded. Is it there? Is it there? I'm sure I've loaded it. I better double check, because what I don't want to do is announce Toon Stato and then find out that he's not actually on. So just bear with us, guys. Bear with us. And this is quite technical. There he is. It hasn't loaded. Now that is a good job that I checked, because I don't know what that video is, but it's certainly not Toon Stato. That could have been an absolute nightmare. Well, it could have been, yeah. It could have been a nightmare. It could have been on Dennis Norden's "It'll Be All Right on the Night" or whatever it's called. But okay, I think, is it loaded? It's doing that old, what's it called when the computer used to do the loading thing? Yeah, there he is. He's in.
The round thing.
You know what I mean? Loading. Here's Toon Stato.
Hello lads, what a game on Tuesday night. I'm buzzing and I can't wait for it, and actually I'm so excited that I'm coming all the way from Bulgaria for this game to see it live. It will be my fourth and maybe final game for this season. We expect some new signings to debut, starting with Bruno Guimaraes, who is only the third Brazilian international to play for Newcastle and the first since the legend Claudio Caçapa, who played for us in 2007-2009. The third one, of course, is the legendary Mirandinha, while Joelinton unfortunately still doesn't have a cap for Brazil. At the same time, Dan Burn will be looking for his third goal ever in the Premier League, but half of them so far are scored against Everton. On Chris Wood, he's one of few players to have at least 10 goals in the last 4 Premier League seasons, while this season he has only 3 goals so far, so he has 17 games to score at least another 7 to keep his record intact. When it comes to Everton, we are unbeaten in the last 3 games against them. We did the double over them last season. And of course the famous Florian Lejeune game when we managed to salvage the draw against them. Overall, in the Premier League, we have 26 games at St. James's Park, with Newcastle dominating them with 14 wins, 8 defeats, and only 4 draws, with the last draw at St. James's Park being back in February 2009, the relegation season when Kevin Nolan was sent off. The funny thing is that out of our last 5 wins against Everton at St. James's Park, 3 of them finished with the score being 3-2 for Newcastle, including that famous Ayoze Perez game in 2019 when Ayoze scored 2 late goals for the turnaround against Everton. So as I said, I'm counting down the days till Tuesday, and I'm really buzzing for the game, and I'm hoping that this is the real start of the new era at Newcastle.
Great stuff, and great to see him on the full screen there. Usually he's just blocked Steve Hasty out, but as always, looking forward to seeing Andrew and welcoming him to Newcastle. Looking forward to catching up with him pre-match, and now it's time to bring in the star of the show. Good evening, Toon Tipster.
No, lads, all right.
How are you, mate?
What you being nice to me for? What do you want?
Just being nice to you, mate. It's nice to be nice.
Bloody hell, Jesus. Right, right then. How's things?
I was just going to say, it's typical that it's the tipster's the only one who can afford one of the bloody Castori shirts, mind, unless he's been to get one of those ones in the sale today.
From Middlesbrough, mate. I just put it up my coat and leg it. So I'm back after a short break due to work commitments for what is my second appearance of the week. I think I've made more consecutive starts than Michael Owen now. But I thought I'd dress back down tonight, Mr. Hasty, to fit in better with you scruffy gets. You let me down on Monday, big time. We've had a really successful window. The last time I paid that much attention to a window, it was being cleaned in the Millburn. However, unfortunately, I still didn't get my big money move to loaded. So it looks like I'm stuck here with you lot till the summer. Positively, we signed a target man and we got a bloke who's over 9 foot who, if naught else, will be able to get that pigeon down out the roof for us. We've also signed the second best midfielder in Brazil to join up with the game's finest in the middle. Can't wait to see them two together. We've got a real sense of hope now. And can I just reiterate to any of the non-believers, Newcastle United have spent about £95 million in a month. Just get your head around that for a minute. No game this weekend for us due to it being an FA Cup weekend. And I would like to say good luck and wish Cambridge United all the best. The 4th round kicks off tonight at Old Trafford, where 10,000 Middlesbrough fans have travelled down for the match. Fair play to them. That's an 8,000 improvement on the home crowds. Manchester United are 2-7. The draw is 11-2. And just for you, Mr. Wraith, Middlesbrough are 8-1.
Well, it's for Charlie Salvador because he wants to put 30 quid on it. So that's me bet sorted.
Right, yes. Right. We'll sort that for him, no problem. As far as the Mags are concerned, we return back from our shopping trip to face Everton on Tuesday night at St. James's Park. There's not much in this one with the bookies. Newcastle are 6-4. The draw is 12-5, and you can get 17-10 for Frank Lampard's Everton. Both teams to score is well fancied at 7-10. 1-0 Newcastle, 17-2. 2-0, 12-1, 2-1, 10-1, and 20-1 for 3-1, Mr. Penman. If you think it's going to go the way of Everton, you can have 9-1 for 1-0, 10-1 for 2-1, 0-0 draw, 10-1, and ones each is 6-1. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is favourite to score any time at 8-5, followed closely by Chris Wood at 7-4. Ryan Fraser is 4-1. Bruno is 11-2, and Big Dan Burn is 12-1. You've got 2-1 if you think our old mate Rondon will come back and do us some damage. For the food bank, we've still got £85 in the pot. I've been stuck there longer than Sunderland have been in League One. But I'm going with ASM this week to hopefully push us to the magic £100 mark. And in terms of the Toon Tickle, I thought I'd offer you a Teesside FA Cup special. Middlesbrough and Hartlepool United to win at Manchester United and Crystal Palace is 206-1. More realistically, if you think they can pull a draw off after 90 minutes, you can have 50-1. So up the pools. So please gamble safely, everyone. Please be careful. Don't chase your losses. And of course, I'd just like to offer my deep condolences to John Owen's family, another member of the NUFC Matters family that's gone far too soon. So thank you, gentlemen.
Great stuff as always, mate, and thank you for that little tribute to John. We're gonna play a little tribute to John in a couple of seconds, really, from Charlie Salvador, who's asked me to play this tonight. I've stuck it on the YouTube channel as well. Just want to say that the Food Bank T-shirt has been won by our good friend George, and he wants to take this one. It's going to be signed by me, Dad. £450. George tends to bid on these T-shirts and not take the T-shirt, but he says he's going to take this one, John from QTech. So if you don't mind sorting that out, well done. £450 into the coffers. Me, Dad will sign that shirt. We do have a new one, which is already going to, well, it's literally going to go up my Twitter in the next 5 minutes or so, and this one is Robson Green, another famous face from these parts. Now, Robson has agreed to sign it. Big actor, as you know, probably from his many appearances on ITV. But Robson is well aware of this. He's going to sign it, and that's going to go to the highest bidder. So top of my Twitter profile, at Steve Rafe. I will pin that in the next 5 minutes and get bidding. We will announce the winner of that next week. Thank you very much for doing that, Robson. Now, as most of you are aware, I do visit, COVID restrictions permitting, a very well-known prisoner who is up for parole this year, Charles Salvador, who has done many things for charity over the years and is about to do a quite remarkable piece for the food bank. We've spoken to him, and he's going to do something for the food bank over the next few weeks, which is fantastic. He's going to send it out, and we're going to put that up on my Twitter, and hopefully get quite a bit for that. But he has sent a message for John from Jab.
Nicola, Mia, I'm so sorry to hear about John. Steve's just told me. I'm gutted. He was a lovely man, very respectful man. I spoke to him last year. Very sad to hear that. Steve's going to keep me in touch what's going down. I'm going to have to sort out a nice wreath for the funeral. Keep your chins up. Be brave. Stay strong. So many people are upset over this. It's horrible. 40 years old. Unbelievable. Anyway, stay strong. Love and respect. And try and keep smiling. Your old China, Charlie.
Lovely message from Charlie, and as I said, it just echoes the sentiments that everybody's feeling about John. It's a big loss for NUFC Matters community, big loss for everybody, and our thoughts go with Nicola and Mia and his other immediate family, and we'll keep people posted. I know there's a few people who are interested in going to the funeral, so we will let people know as soon as we know about it. But thanks to everybody for sending the messages as well. It does mean a lot, and thank you to Charlie for sending that message over as well. Okay, let's go to a few of the comments before we start looking ahead to the Everton game ourselves. And think Big Dan Burn will score from set piece on Tuesday, says Steve. Robson Green talking about the t-shirt. A Dudley lad, my younger cousin knocked around with him and they were mates, but he did chin him a few times the way it was back then, says Geordie Toon for Life, injecting a bit of humour.
It worked for my father-in-law as well.
Really? Oh, well, there we go. Great stuff. Rachel,
and Dudley.
Rachel says great tribute from Charlie, and John says great tribute as well. Fantastic. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, before we look ahead to Everton, as always, we've got Steve Hastie's favourite part of the night, and of course, it is lookalikes. And Steve, I've got to be perfectly honest before we start this. I think generally you've had a pretty good week this week, so don't be too concerned. Okay, Toon lookalike, quite a lot to get through. This one was from 2-star. What's his name going to be? He just put, and David Billy Gibson put Steve Wraith. Toon lookalike. Yeah, I mean, looks all out of proportion, that guy. I've got no idea what on earth that is, but that's definitely at the bottom of the pile. This one was from Gianfranco Sola. He says, I'm watching a documentary and I swear to God that the former Newcastle manager is posing as a female golfer. It definitely looks like Steve Bruce, that like.
It did, mate.
It does, yeah. That was good. This one, I can't remember who sent this. I think it was a guy called Mark saying one for lookalike Wayne Mardle, the darts player, and Mike Ashley.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, little one there. Oh, that one's repeat. That one, Ugly Camel, not Toon lookalike, Sturgeon and Salmon and Fiona and Shrek. Just a very similar pose. I think about that's the only thing I could say, and the fact that she's got green on. There's another lookalike, Dan Levy, and a rather odd-looking chap on the right.
We can all see that one.
Yeah, we can all see that one. Tom Dixon, as usual, attacking Steve Hastie as many times as he can in one tweet. Lily Savage. Steve's never been seen with that wig on. I'm sure that's one of Albert's pictures. Anyway. I think that's one of Albert's pictures. Dave Besson's not a bad shout, but I mean, you need some curly hair, really, don't you? That's what you need.
Go back to 1986. That one.
It definitely does. This one was just a random one sent. It was on Instagram. Yeah, I mean, all three separated at birth. Is the text that I got with that one again? Not up high up the charts. Daniel put this out, and Julie just said, "Good lookalike. This one never tires. It doesn't. Definitely done that one before on the show, as we've done this one as well. But Jimmy did say that Rafa hasn't taken it well. Obviously, not being in a job at Everton. This one was from Sutty from last week, which I missed out. He says, lookalike, he's Steve Gibson, the borough chairman, and the Lord of the Dance, Michael Flatley.
He looks more like John Allen.
He's doing probably Steve Gibson, and he's doing Steve Gibson an injustice there, I think. I mean, Michael Flatley, certainly not a great. I mean, the camera's put a few pounds on him there, hasn't it? Tom Dixon again. I quite like the Van der Heer one.
Yeah, the top one do look like the same person, just a different camera angle.
Yeah, I think the Van der Heer one's quite good. It's quite funny how animals tend to look like humans. 100% Mags, he said, here's a cracking tune lookalike. This guy out of Faulty Towers, and Steve Bruce. A little bit. Steve Bruce obviously back in football now. How on earth that's happened, God only knows.
And his son back in football as well. Getting
and his son. Right. Unbelievable. Tune lookalike, Mick Quinn and Mike Bassett.
Yeah, I can see that one. From
Rich. This one was inboxed to me about 5 or 6 times. Wayne, thank you for that. Others who sent it in, thank you as well. But I mean, literally, it's Alan Shearer's head superimposed on Vera. It's not really a lookalike, but yeah, I mean, it was funny.
It's the other way around.
Vera and Shearer. This one was from 100% Mags, and this is very good. My wife often gets compared to Polly or Faulty Towers as well. And that one is pretty good. I think Amanda and the lady who played Polly from Faulty Towers, I can never remember her name. Yeah, that's a good shout. I don't think Amanda would be too bothered about that one either. Oh. And this one, Steve, which again, I'm sure we've had before from Steve Corbett. Steve Hastie on a night out in the big market.
God, wait.
Have you ever met Steve Corbett? Have you ever done anything wrong to him?
No, he's never met. Not that I'm aware of. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, I can see. Maybe he's
Maybe
you've got a top like that. Critical thinking. Not sure if this has been done before. Me and Frank Lampard.
No, that's never been done before. You're right.
It hasn't. There's something distinctly lacking though. Hair. Maybe if you put hair on that photograph of me, maybe there would be sometimes, it's the angle of the photograph.
Yes,
I think that gets people in that kind of mindset that it's a lookalike. This one from Albert. Albert, you've been quiet, mate. Been very quiet. Not many things, but $1 billion cruises with 2 Northeast celebrities. I wouldn't say I'm a celebrity, mate. Gaza and Steve Wraith. That does look a little bit like Gaza on the left. And yes, that guy is quite remarkably like me. I had to squint and check to make sure you hadn't just superimposed my head on him. Okay, we're into the top 3. I did like this one. Ricky Gervais put this one on, and Andrew Harbert said, "There's Jurgen Klopp moving house." Number 2.
Oh, fuck. Oh.
Meatloaf and Sam Allardyce.
Yes, definitely. Can see that.
Yeah.
He would do anything for grub, Sam, definitely. And the winner for me by a country mile was this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Luis Suarez and Ken Dodd.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant, that. Absolutely brilliant. So, yeah, keep them coming in. Send them to me at Steve Wraith on Twitter, or send them to Mitch or Steve, and we will endeavour to get your 2 lookalikes on. And thank you for being kind to Steve Hasty this week. It does.
Yes, thank you.
I know it does go down well.
To start the month, Steve, so no doubt it'll drift by the time we get to the end of Feb. But
yeah, I can feel Tom Dixon now scuttling away, like trying to find some more lookalikes of you, mate. I can feel it in me bones. Yeah. Okay, it's time for this now. Elliot Slesser, professional snooker player based in the Northeast. Joke of the week is, I'm going to try Velcro instead of shoelaces. I mean, why not? Brilliant. As always, Elliot, keep them coming. I'm laughing if nobody else is. Just a quick reminder, our summer do is taking place as well on the 17th of June at the Tyneside Irish Centre. We've got some music on, Viva Morrissey, and the tickets for that are available at newcastlelegends.com. The price is £15. They go to the food bank. If you want to make a cheaper purchase or you can't buy through the website, get yourself onto Groupon or Voucher and you can buy your tickets on there. The proceeds go into the food bank. Going to be a cracking night. Most of us will be there and you will have a good time. So get yourself along, support the food bank and come and listen to a little bit of Morrissey. It'll be a good night and I'm sure it'll be good to see as many of you there as possible. I'm going to play the sponsors advert to play out with tonight, but I just do want to say a quick mention to Arcot Interiors. Bumped into Chris Collins today and he has some work going. So if any of our viewers are fitters, kitchen fitters, plumbers, whatever, get in touch with Arcot Interiors because they are employing people for a couple of jobs this week. So Chris asked me to give that a mention tonight. Arcot Interiors, as you know, one of our sponsors, they are looking for fitters, plumbers, etc. So give them a shout. Arcot Interiors. Google them. They come up the top of the Google search list, and maybe you can get yourself some work if you're looking for some. Chris and the boys are a good team, good bunch of lads, and they will look forward to taking your call and looking at your CV. Okay, Everton at home then. As I say, it feels literally as if we have been out of football for months now to me. This break has been absolutely horrendous. But we are at home, Tuesday the 8th. And of course, it's a 7:45 kickoff. It's live on BT Sports. The game, Kel Surprise, is a complete sellout. Supermac will be at the Dog and Parrot at 6 o'clock. We're only doing a pre-match on Tuesday night. No post-match. We don't do post-match on a nighttime game. Injury list. Well, Callum Wilson is recovering from his calf problem. Martin Dubravka, Paul Dummett, Federico Fernandez, Joe Linton, Emil Kraft and Matt Ritchie were all missing from the side. They played a friendly in Saudi Arabia last week. There are 3 possible debutants, though, in the shape of Matt Targett, Bruno Guimaraes and Dan Burn. As for Everton, well, this game marks the Premier League debut of another manager for Everton, and that is Frank Lampard. He's come in to replace Rafa Benitez, who, of course, was sacked. His assistants are Ashley Cole, and Duncan Ferguson, of course, is still on the staff there as well. Fabian Delph and Abadoulaye Doucouré are both injured and out. Andros Townsend and Rondon are both at Goodison Park, so they may feature. The deadline day transfer business saw Van de Beek come in from Manchester United and Dele Alli coming in from Spurs, both hoping to make their Premier League debuts. Everton have just won 1 of their last 14 Premier League matches. They have an identical record away from Goodison Park to that of us on the road, which is 1-1, drawn 3 and lost 6. Referee for this game is Anthony Taylor, which is the second game of the season in charge of a Newcastle game, the last being a 4-1 defeat at Old Trafford earlier in the season. On VAR, which is often switched off when Newcastle are playing, is Chris Kavanagh. So, Steve, this is, as we said before that prolonged break, a proverbial 6-pointer, mate. And, we need to win this game. What's your views on it? What kind of formation do you think we are going to see from Newcastle United on Tuesday?
Good questions. I mean, it is a proverbial 6-pointer, isn't it? Absolutely. Everton all over the place. Watched them in their last game against Villa. They literally were all over the place. They played a little bit better in the second half and brought Allen on. But apart from that, I thought they were shambolic. And I think most of the Everton fans, because of the build-up as well, with Duncan Ferguson being in charge of that game, there was a huge build-up and a massive anti-climax for them. That was a kick in the teeth. I mean, we've had plenty of kicks in the teeth, but that was a kick in the teeth for the Everton fans, I think, because I think they honestly thought there was going to be a lift when they went in against Villa. Now they've got a manager that they've been screaming for, a manager that's come in with a record, if I remember rightly, as being the out of the last 10 managers at Chelsea, the worst of the lot. They're Abramovich, so although they think that he's going to do absolutely wonders for them, he for me, he didn't do wonders at Chelsea. He should never have got the job. I'm delighted he's got the Everton job because of that. They go on about him at Derby as well, and he took them to a playoff final, and they bottled it. They were winning 2-0, and they bottled it, and so it goes on. But that's who the fans wanted. The fans have got the manager that they want eventually, so they're going to have to live or die by this one. Got some good friends, Dave Kelly and Rob Daniels from Everton, from the food bank, from the fan supporting food banks. They'll be over. They'll be popping in to see us. Great.
Oh, Steve's disappeared. He's gone into the ethos. There's that turtle. There's that thing again. Well, look, we'll come back to Steve. He must have got a phone call or something. Mitch, give us your take on it. We'll come back to Steve when he reappears.
But the take is simple. They are reaching. They're reaching for people who will give them hope. And I genuinely don't think they can put anybody forward in the next 48 hours who can give them more hope and actually put something together that will make them more relevant. Yeah, honestly, looking at what they've done over the last couple of years, they don't know what they want, and they want to be relevant in terms of people who will back them up in terms of backing them up in terms of what they're going to do to win games, and they can't do it. They can't do it. So for us, over the next 48 hours, I'll be interested to see what they're going to do, because we're going to go into the game against them, the people who have trained in the last 48 hours, and our core people who in the squad have gone, Jesus, this is a real upgrade. I don't think they're going to get the same upgrade, and so let's see what turns out. I'm not
what's your prediction
convinced.
for a formation, Mitch? Because somebody asked us that right at the start of the show, and it's stayed in my mind.
Right.
I mean, this is going to be a difficult team to pick, I guess, for most fans.
Yes.
Is it going to be as difficult for Eddie Howe, do you think?
No, I'm quite sure he's got what he wants in the back of his mind. I'm quite sure from who he has sat down and said, right, you're not part of my long-term plan, and understand it through. I think we'll get considered 11. I think he's not just plucked it out of the air. I'm genuinely sure that Howe has sat down and said, this is what I want, and some of these players are surplus to my requirements. Look, honestly, he can now. It's all about how. It's all about how and what he has chosen now for the 25 squad going forward. Yeah. And we will die on that hill or not. But you've got to back him. You've got to say, right, you've been given that amount of players, and you've been given that squad to play with, and the players who don't form a part of that have to understand that, and I think they do, to be fair. I mean, we will go into this with a squad who are backed up from top to bottom, and we've just got to back it up. We've just got to let him pick the 25 and then the 11 who will play it next, and then support it. That's all we can do.
Okay, Mitch, what's your prediction?
2-1.
2-1 win then. Okay, Steve, you got cut off in your prime.
Back to you. A bit of a power surge there. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I mean, in a formation, I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing a deep lying Shelby with a Joe Linton and Gumara and ASM playing alongside each other in a midfield with Willock playing behind Wood. That would be an interesting sort of six for me to see where he goes with, obviously Trippier, Target, Byrne and Lascelles, and if Dubravka's fit in, Dubravka in goal. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. And I'm going to say that the other thing about Everton is Calvert-Lewin's been... well, they've got a game tomorrow. They've got a cup match. He can't play his two star signings, in inverted commas. He can't bring either of those in. So he's going into a game tomorrow. And then he's then got to have to start thinking about what he does against Newcastle on Tuesday, whereas Eddie Howe has got a free weekend. he can then work with his team, he can work with his formation, and he can go in fairly refreshed on Tuesday with new signings and a new lineup and a new way of playing. And I think that's what's exciting, and that's why I'm going for a 2-0 win for Newcastle.
Okay, Joe, are you as optimistic?
Steve, I changed my mind more than I changed my socks, and I think last time I come on and I was so despondent after that Watford game, and I was actually wondering where we were going to get the next win from. I'd love to think that the signings that we've made will give us that impetus. I hope that trip to Saudi Arabia and Eddie Howe getting a bit of time with the lads out of the way, will do us some good. Everton are absolutely all over the place, as Mitch said earlier. So again, it's yet another match that you're thinking, why not? This could be the week that we'll get that victory. But unfortunately, and I think as much as the transfer window has been a really, really positive one, we were talking about it on Monday, without that centre forward, and with the greatest of respect to Chris Wood, without that fox in the box, without that goal scorer, where are the goals going to come from? Which is why I think we're looking at, it'll be really interesting to see what Eddie Howe does with his midfield, because ultimately, until Callum Wilson's back, I guess we're still putting all our chips on ASM doing something. Bruno is a fantastic player from what I read, and I haven't seen much of him, but from what I can gather, is he the type of midfielder that's going to push on and score goals? I don't think he is. Is Shelvey got the legs to be able to step forward a little bit and maybe play a little bit further up the pitch? I don't think he is. So for me, it's still all about those goals. I'm still hoping Ryan Fraser, starts to hit the back of the net. So optimistic, yes. Dan Burn's a good signing for me. He's solid. Brighton the Brighton fans and Graham Potter have been talking really, really highly of him. Matt Targett is solid away, and I think it's nice that actually we've solved our left back conundrum now. We'll look a little bit more balanced across the back four. Will it be Shah? Will it be Lascelles? Take your pick. I personally hope it's going to be Shah, but I think Lascelles will stay in. We're both as bad as each other, I guess. So optimistically, Newcastle win 1-0. The 1-1 draw caught my eye, so I'll go with that and take a point.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, I'm confident, and I've got to agree. Whoever said in the chat that Dele Alli and Van der Beek aren't the players for a relegation battle, I 100% agree. I genuinely cannot see those two, getting Everton out of trouble. I think Everton have been masters of their own downfall, and they've got into that routine of sacking managers. That's what Sunderland did, and nobody is immune from the drop.
But they've barely played as well, Steve. I mean, to expect them just to come in and hit the ground running. I mean, Dele Alli hasn't kicked a football, has he? As far as I'm aware. For them to come in and be expected to almost save Everton's season, who, let's be honest, over the last 3 seasons, they've spent absolute fortunes at that football club, and they're spent
a lot of money. They spent a lot of money, and they keep having a pop at Bill Kenwright, don't they? Every time Bill Kenwright steps foot out the ground, somebody who's put his life and soul into that football club. And like owners, he's taken money out. He's done all right out of Everton Football Club. I'm sure he has. But that guy bleeds Everton. He bleeds blue, and it's this new owner. That's the new owners who come in, who've they've made these decisions. They make knee-jerk reactions and they sack managers like that, and that's the problem, And I'm glad it's not our problem anymore. We've got owners who care, owners who've come in and spent £90 million, and we've got a manager who did well up until his relegation at Bournemouth, and he only got relegated because the players were sold underneath him. He built and built and built, and all those good players got sold to keep the club running. He's had time to reflect. He's had time to prepare. He's time to see where he's gone wrong. He's come in. He's turned the dressing room round. We're 3 games unbeaten. He's got the players now that he needed and wanted to try and get the job done. And I'm confident. I think Newcastle will win on Tuesday night. I think they'll comprehensively beat Everton. I'm not saying it's going to be a landslide. I think 2-0 is probably about right. I think Newcastle will keep a clean sheet. I think Newcastle will score 2 goals. And I think people will be going, wow, this could really change our season. This has changed our season. So I am confident, and it's not a fake confidence, a false confidence. I think we did great business in the transfer window. I genuinely feel a lot more confident again, So I think all your predictions are right. got to apologise on behalf of Mitch. I think you all saw Mitch was getting table service. Now, he did warn me and Steve Hasty about this prior to the show starting. And he said, I do not know what's in any of these glasses, and I can't guarantee what effect it's going to have on me, because he's at Chelsea Rob's house. You could hear balls getting hit in the snooker balls getting hit in the background, pool balls, whatever. Well, I'm afraid if you rewind and listen to his answer when we finished the show of that last question, I could tell he didn't know exactly what he was saying. And I just got a message in the little chat on the side saying, I'm beep. Basically, Mitch has had to retire early. But that was fantastic. Absolutely. I hope Mitch watches that back and enjoys it. Okay. Yes, he is tuned for life. He is 100%. And don't forget, guys, that on this show, on a Friday night, it really is all about Julie Baker. Yeah. How dare anybody suggest in the chat that I wouldn't have somebody at some point this week troll me? And I think the standard of trolling has dipped, but good news, it has gone back to its best tonight. Lane husband, rumour has it when Wraith goes for a prostate exam, they find his own head up his own arse. Lane husband, congratulations, you are troll of the week. That is superb, absolutely brilliant. Bit of time and effort went into that one, and a bit of intelligence. Julie, I knew you'd like that one. Rachel's going, yay. Everybody loves Troll of the Week. It's fantastic, isn't it? It really is good. And I could have had there was a whole host of them actually this week. But that one was certainly the best one. I mean, apart from all the obvious ones which people see on the timeline day in, day out aimed at me, that one was really good. So, yeah, don't forget to bid on the new T-shirt, the Robson Green one, at Steve Wraith. I'm going to stick that out on Twitter now. Just want to thank you again for all your wonderful positive comments about John from Jab. He will be remembered on this show. I'm going to leave the logo up on all the promotional stuff moving forward. And hopefully Ash, who's running Jab now, will be able to take it to the next level. But fantastic. Thanks to you guys as well. Toon Tips, Steve Hasty, for your support via messages this week. Does mean a lot. And thanks to everybody in the chat. Great show again. Love Friday night show. It gets you back in a good place when you're amongst friends. And hope you all have a good weekend. We're all looking forward to Tuesday. Don't forget, I am having a day off tomorrow, but there is 2 shows on. The Irish Centre Peter Beardsley show goes live at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then the Shane Taylor interview goes live at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I will be back on Sunday with Holly. We haven't decided on a time yet, but I'll be back live with Holly on Sunday. So have a good weekend, guys, and be safe, and we'll see you all next week. Take care. I'll finish off with the adverts.
Take care.
Thanks to all our sponsors. Spider VPN for all your internet security. Google Spider VPN. They come up at the top of the Google search list. They are the boys to trust and protect your computer from unwanted bugs. Skipsandbins.com. Telephone 0800 25 45 25 3. Email inquiries at skipsandbins.com. Website www.skipsandbins.com. Easy contract, free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks also to L&G Family Funeral Directors, 0191 389 7245, and to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists, www.thegohd.com. Thanks also to Arcot Interiors for all your kitchen necessities. You can find them at the bottom of Heaton Road, and Google Arcot Interiors. They come up at the top of the Google search list. Thanks also to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wales and Newcastle, and the guys who run our website, NUFCmatters.com. Thanks also to jabsignature.co.uk for all of the flyers that they do for us. Thanks to Media Arts for all the video work. If you're a first-time visitor to the channel, please subscribe. Hit the Newcastle Legends logo in the bottom right-hand corner, and that's it. You can subscribe for free. We still do 7 shows a week, and they are all free. Hit the thumb up underneath the video to like it. Click share to your social media, and drop into the comments box to speak to like-minded Newcastle fans. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify and other podcast providers. The show usually goes up 24 hours after the show. If you want to join the NUFC Matters cult and get a cup, a pen, a scarf, and your membership card and entry into the monthly draw, put your phone over this QR code and it will take you straight to the website. Failing that, go to nufcmatters.com and become a member. If you want to come and see Malcolm MacDonald pre-match or post-match, we are at the Dog and Parrot. It's kid-friendly and it goes great food and beer, and you can come and meet Malcolm in person before the match or after the match during the season. Make a donation to the food bank via nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk. The matchday bucket is operational 365 days of the year. If you want to follow us on social media, then go to NUFC Matters. We've got a Facebook group and we've got a Facebook page. And if you're into the true crime stuff that we do, then follow Steve Wraith's True Crime Interviews, and that is a Facebook group. My personal Twitter follow-on page is @Steve Wraith, and Instagram is Steve Wraith. Give me your follow on there too.